All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. And today, what I have for everyone is my full review of the Samsung Galaxy S8 Active. Okay, now I originally did an unboxing and first impressions for this device a really long time ago, but nobody requested the review until recently. Okay, so shout out to the viewer that requested the review. And I do apologize that it took me so long to get to it. As I told you in that comment, I had two devices before it. So I actually had to review the OnePlus Nord N100 and the Pixel 3a XL before I can get to reviewing this. But I've done it, I've put it through its paces, and we're ready for this full review here today. So today in this full review, I'm going to go ahead and run through everything and give you guys and gals my overall thoughts and opinions on it. And then by the end of the video, I'm going to let y'all know if this device is still worth picking up here in 2021. All right. So let's get a little bit of housekeeping out the way up front. So as always, if you enjoyed this video and or you find the video helpful, please help your boy out by giving the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. You don't know how much. This is being recorded with the rear-facing primary 12 megapixel camera on the Samsung Galaxy S10e. All right. This is being recorded with Pro Mode, and this is also being recorded with the Movo MA2010 omnidirectional microphone. All right. And this is in 1080p, 30 FPS. Okay. So let me know what you think of the overall video quality as well as what you think of the overall audio quality down below in the comments. As always, all feedback is greatly appreciated. Just keep it respectful, please. All right. That being said, if this video piques your interest and you would like to know where you can pick up this device, as well as any and all recommended accessories, all the links to where y'all can pick up this device at some really great prices will be available down below in the video description. And those links down below in the video description are affiliate links. So I do get a small percentage of kickback when you use those links that I do put back into the channel. And that's at no additional cost to you guys and gals. So it's a win-win for everybody. You guys get the absolute best deal, and I get a small percentage of kickback that I put back into funding the channel and producing content. All right. So as always, if your interest is piqued, down below in the video description will be like a one-stop shop for you guys and gals, and you should be good to go. As well as all of my extended coverage on this device will be linked up down below in the video description as well. So the camera review down below in the video description, linked up. Gaming review down below in the video description, linked up. As well as the unboxing and first impressions. Some people like to check that out. I'll link that up down below as well. Now, I did not do a software walkthrough for this device because I've done multiple software walkthroughs for the software that's on here. So I'll link up an older software walkthrough for the Samsung Galaxy devices that y'all could check out as well if y'all want a full walkthrough of the software. All right. So housekeeping done. Now let's go ahead and dive into the video. So up first, the first thing that I want to talk about with everyone is the overall build quality and design of this device. If I could talk, y'all know I have trouble talking sometimes, so please bear with me. So talking about the overall build quality and design of this device, I have to say Samsung did a great job on this one. Now we have a combination of aluminum and hardcore texturized plastics around the side and built into the mid frame on this one. And then up front, we have a Super AMOLED 2K display as well. All right. And then on the back, we have grippy texturized plastic, again, with some more texturized plastic to go around the aluminum. All right. And then the key thing about this device, as well as the S7 Active, was this was Samsung's attempt at a shatter-resistant display. All right. So similar to what you saw on some of Motorola's devices with their shatterproof displays, Samsung actually implemented that technology into the S7 Active and the S8 Active in their shatter resistant displays. All right, so this device was completely built for your ruggedized lifestyle. So you don't really need a case or anything with this. And overall, I have to say the overall build quality on this is phenomenal, y'all. Phenomenal indeed. And in terms of the overall design on this, it is actually one of my favorites. I am actually very biased towards the active lineup. I love them, okay? And I was very sad to hear when Samsung discontinued them, because I actually had all of them. I had the S4 active. I don't have that anymore. I had the S5 active. I don't have that one anymore, but I still have the S6 and the S7 and the S8 to finish out the lineup. And actually, I think I said this in the camera video, but they did have one more ruggedized device that they did release. I believe it was called the Samsung X Cover, and I'm honestly thinking about picking that one up. That one is a Verizon exclusive, but I have a Verizon SIM, so I might pick it up anyways. So y'all might see coverage on that device in the future. But in terms of the overall build quality and design, I feel like Samsung did a top-notch job on this one here. All right, let's move on. Up next now, let's talk about this display. So up front, dead center here, let me light it up. Okay, we have a 5.8-inch Super AMOLED 2K display up here that is HDR10 compliant. And it has a resolution of 1440 by 2960, giving it a screen density of 438 pixels per inch. Okay, for all you guys and gals that like to know all the technical details, there you have it. But talking about this display in terms of daily usage, it is a really, really phenomenal display. Now indoors here, I keep it at this brightness right here. This is about 25% and it works perfectly. Outdoors, I rarely, if ever, have to raise it up higher than 50 to 80%, most likely 50%, and it works perfectly outdoors. So in all aspects of the display, this is a phenomenal display, and I knew it was going to be because I'm a big fan of Super AMOLED technology. Not only is it very energy efficient, but it does get very bright when you need it to. All right, so in terms of the day-to-day performance with this display, it is top-notch in my opinion. Top-notch indeed. All right, so yet again, in the display category, Samsung has done a great job. Great job indeed. All right, now let's move on to some more categories in this video. Up next now, let's talk about the overall hardware, and then we're going to take a dive into the software, or at least talk about my overall experiences with the software performance on the day-to-day. But first off, we got to cover the hardware first. So talking about the hardware on this one, this bad boy is packing 4 gigs of onboard RAM with 64 gigs of onboard internal storage. It also can supplement that internal storage with a microSD card slot. So you can add expandable memory on this one, and you can make that expandable memory adaptable memory. You do have to dive into developer options and click off the options that says force apps to SD card or external storage, and then you can use that SD card as adaptable expandable storage. If not, you can only use the SD card to store photos and videos out of the box. Okay, other than that, we do have a 12 megapixel camera on the rear, okay, that can record up to 4K at 30 FPS and do 1080p slow motion at 120 frames per second and do 720p slow motion at 240 frames per second. All right, it can also do 1080p 30 and 1080p 60 and 720p. All right. Alongside that, flanking that to the right, we have an always active capacitive fingerprint sensor. And I gotta tell y'all, other than the placement, the fingerprint sensor is super fast. So let me give y'all a quick demonstration so y'all can see the display. Tap, lights right up, okay? Super fast fingerprint sensor. I'm just not a fan of the placement. And to the left of that, we have our heart rate scanner. And then on the bottom of that, we have our LED flash. All right. Good stuff there. Good stuff indeed. Diving into more hardware, internally, we are packing the Snapdragon 835 octa-core processor and the Adreno 540 GPU. Okay. With a 4,000 milliamp hour battery on board. Okay. And we also have USB Type-C with 15 watt fast charging. And we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack with one bottom firing speaker on here as well. Flipping it to the front, we already talked about the display. 5.8 inch Super AMOLED HDR10 compliant display. We do also have a multicolored LED notification light, so that's really cool. But we also have an AR iris scanner alongside with our display sensors. And we have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera that can record up to 2K at 30 FPS. All right? Okay. And alongside that, this bad boy is mil-spec 810G, so drop compliant. And it does support IP68 waterproofing, so you can fully submerge this in up to 1 meter of water or 3 feet for 30 minutes, and it should be good to go. It also has 15 watt fast wireless charging as well. So this bad boy is packing everything. Everything, everything. Okay? And it's doing it in a ruggedized shell. So good stuff indeed. Alright? Now, I do believe that officially goes over all of the hardware. Right? Now, moving on here, let's talk about the software on this bad boy right here. Now, software-wise, this is running Android 9 with the last version of the Samsung experience and the first version of, I believe it's Touch UI version 1.1 on board, okay? But it's still packing all of the great features on here in terms of the Samsung experience. So pretty much some of the things that you can get on your modern Samsung device, you can get on this device. And let me show y'all the current software that it's running right now before I forget. Okay, I think I pulled that up in the background here. Yes, so here's the current software right here. So it's currently running One UI version 1.1 on top of Android 9.0. And it has the December 1st, 2020 security patch. So this is not up to date by any means, okay? But just so y'all know, and let me hold it up so y'all can see. So there you have it. One UI 1.1, Android 9, and December 1st, 2020 security patch. So this is outdated, yes, but still functional in my opinion. And talking about the software in terms of the day-to-day experience, it still more than gets the job done, okay? For day-to-day activities, this device has been serving me well. And one of the key features that I want to point out here is that with the Samsung One UI experience, you can lock applications in the memory. So let's say there's an application that you use a lot and you don't want it to get forced out of memory. Well, we go into the recent apps here, and down at the bottom, you see it says lock this app. Okay? That locks the application into memory so it can't get cleared. All right? So I always recommend this feature on Samsung devices. If there's applications that you use regularly and you don't want them to get forced out of the memory, go ahead and lock them in. Okay? So that's a really nice feature, and I do that on all of my Samsung devices. But in terms of the day-to-day performance with the One UI experience, it has been really, really good. And alongside that, this device also supports Samsung DeX, all right? But you need to have a physical connection for Samsung DeX to work on this device. So you need to get you an adapter like this, okay, that you can plug into the USB Type-C port, and then you have Samsung DeX on this device. And it also supports wired screen mirroring as well. So if you don't want to take advantage of the DeX experience, you can use screen mirroring to mirror what's on your device to bigger displays. So really, really good stuff in my experience, and I use that regularly. Alongside my new wireless keyboard and mouse, I use that adapter and or wireless DeX to edit videos regularly. All right, so really, really good overall software experience in my opinion, and really, really good overall hardware in my opinion. Okay, are there some limitations to the hardware? Yes, but it's still more than functional for this day and age. Okay, and it more than gets the job done in terms of the software experience. So in my opinion, I would have to say the hardware and the software on the S8 Active is really good. Really good indeed. All right, let's keep it moving now, man. Let's go. Up next, let's test out the Wi-Fi, and I'm going to give y'all my thoughts on the overall Wi-Fi experience. Now, this device does support dual band Wi-Fi, so you do have access to your 2.4 gigahertz as well as your 5 gigahertz band Wi-Fi. All right, and the Wi-Fi on this works phenomenally in my opinion, and I've tested it with multiple different Wi-Fis, and it works phenomenally. All right, but now let me go ahead and give y'all a real-time Wi-Fi performance test. Let's go ahead and pull up some YouTube. We're going to play some copyright-free music, so this will also double as the speaker test as well. So y'all will get a really nice sound sample along with a really nice Wi-Fi demonstration. And you know, the Telegram and YouTube is booming right now. It's booming indeed. All right, so let's pull that YouTube video up. Okay. And you can see I just locked it in memory, so this is not really going to be a memory performance test. Okay. Let's max out the speakers, or speaker, because there's only one bottom firing speaker here. Right down there. Okay. Let's rotate this into landscape. And now I'm going to stop talking and give you guys a really nice speaker sample. Okay? Then we're going to go directly into the Wi-Fi test, and then I'm going to give y'all my thoughts on the overall speaker performance and speaker placement. So let's get started. I hope y'all enjoy. Here we go. Okay, let's check out the Wi-Fi performance now. Let's go. Scrub forward. Scrub forward. Scrub backwards. Scrub backwards. Okay. Alright, so as y'all can see, the overall Wi-Fi on this one is top notch. Now, talking about the overall speaker performance and speaker placement, now, in all honesty, if you're a return viewer you already know what I'm going to say in regards to the speaker placement. I'm not a fan. I really don't like bottom firing speakers. Very easy to muffle, very easy to distort with regular usage, okay? I'm a really big fan and a really big advocate for front-facing, dual-firing speakers. So speaker placement, nah, it's garbage, okay? It's garbage. I don't know what a better way to say it. It's not good. Now, overall speaker performance is good at best. Now, I don't know how well my microphone showcased it, but at max volume, the speakers get loud, but they just feel like they're missing a little bit more oomph, and they do sound kind of flat. So speaker performance is just good at best. I honestly recommend you get a nice Bluetooth speaker, or a nice pair of Bluetooth earbuds, or a nice pair of wired headphones if you really want to enjoy a nice audio experience. But for day-to-day usage, like turn-by-turn navigation and things of that nature, it will get the job done, all right? But you may want to Bluetooth it to the radio in your car, or get a Bluetooth receiver so you can get that audio in stereo. Because testing this out for turn-by-turn navigation in the car, if I had the radio playing or any other thing playing, it was really hard for me to hear the turn-by-turn navigation. So the speaker performance on here is just good. It gets the job done. But yeah, if you want a better audio experience, you definitely need to look at Bluetooth or wired headphones. Okay? Now, that being said, that covers the overall Wi-Fi, and that covers the overall speaker performance and placement. Let's keep it moving now. Let's go. Now, up next now, the next thing I want to talk about with everyone is the overall LTE bands available on this device. Now, this device, although if I turn off the Wi-Fi, it's going to kind of lie to y'all here a little bit and say 5G E up in the corner, I'm going to just tell y'all straight, because we all about keeping it 100. That right there is a lie. This is a 4G LTE device. This device does not support 5G at all. LG, my bad. RIP to LG. No disrespect to y'all. But AT&T just likes to get creative with their branding of 5G, okay? But this is not 5G or 5GE, low latency. This is not, okay? This is a 4G LTE device. And in particular, this particular device is locked to AT&T. Now, give y'all a little bit of a history lesson here. When the active lineup first came out, okay, it was an AT&T exclusive, all right? So S4 active, S5 active, S6 active, S7 active, S8 active, all AT&T exclusives, right? Now, in the latter life cycle of the active lineup, it did get released on T-Mobile, so T-Mobile had their own variant. It did get released on Sprint, and it was still being sold at AT&T. But there was never a Verizon variant that came out. So this device was actually available on T-Mobile, AT&T, and Sprint. Okay? And you can actually find this device right now today, GSM Unlocked. You can find the T-Mobile, the Sprint, and the AT&T version. This particular version that I have is locked to AT&T. But I do have an AT&T free up mobile SIM, so it's not an issue. But talking about the bands here, and there are a few differences, so let me go ahead and pull it up and show you guys in terms of the bands. Whoops. Got some random touches going on here. So you can see we do have some band variation for the different carriers. So AT&T's model doesn't have band 71, but T-Mobile's model does have band 66 and 71, and Sprint's model doesn't have band 66 or 71. So if you got the Sprint variant, you're just going up to band 41. But here are all the bands for all the different variations of the S8 active. right? Get that nice and clear for y'all. And in focus. There you go. Okay? So in terms of bands supported, you should be good to go on this one. Granted, if you get a GSM unlocked version, it will only work on AT&T and T-Mobile. The Sprint variant you have to get from Sprint directly or find a Sprint variant that's being sold. And again, this is not available on Verizon. Okay? So that goes over the LTE bands and what's all supported. All right? Let's keep it going now. Let's move on. Now, in terms of Bluetooth on this bad boy, I do believe this bad boy has Bluetooth either 4.2 or Bluetooth 5.0. I want to say Bluetooth 5.0, if I'm not mistaken. I'll make any corrections to the video up in post. So if I make any mistakes, I'll correct myself in post. But I do believe this bad boy has Bluetooth 5.0 on board. And as a matter of fact, I can check it real quickly in real time here. So we'll go to GSM Arena here, and we will scroll down to where it says Bluetooth. And let's see, see, Bluetooth 5.1. I was mistaken again. So this does have Bluetooth 5.1. Okay, I thought it had Bluetooth 5.0. The benefits of always checking your work. Now I don't have to correct myself in post. So this bad boy has Bluetooth 5.1 low latency. Okay, and in terms of the Bluetooth performance, y'all, the Bluetooth performance on this device has been phenomenal. Now, here is just a small sample of the devices that I've connected up. So I've connected up my Mi Band. I've connected up 2 of my favorite earbuds, and the Bluetooth performance on this is phenomenal, okay? And I'm very, very Bluetooth dependent as well as GPS dependent, so I need solidly performing Bluetooth and solidly performing GPS, and I can happily report that on both of those fronts, this device performs phenomenally, okay? So whether you're using the Bluetooth, which is Bluetooth 5.1, or you're using the next category, which is GPS, it's going to work phenomenally. So turn-by-turn navigation, geocaching, geotagging, all worked phenomenally on this device. Okay? So that covers those 2 categories. So Bluetooth is top-notch. GPS is top-notch. Okay? Let's go. Let's move on. So up next now, let's talk about the overall call quality on here and the overall speaker quality on here, because this is a phone after all, and some people still like to make traditional phone calls, myself included. Well, I'm doing a lot more video calls nowadays than I am regular phone calls. So I can get the appeal of FaceTime on Apple products now because I've been doing a bunch of video calls. Okay? Whether it be WhatsApp, whether it be Facebook Messenger, or whether it be just the built-in video call on the Samsung dialer, and even Google Duo. I've been doing a lot of video calls with this device. And Zoom calls as well. I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls with this device as well. But talking about the call quality through the onboard receiver, I would have to say it's decent at best. Now, there is a speaker boost feature in the software for the dialer, but without that speaker boost feature turned on, I would have to say the call quality through the onboard receiver is decent at best, okay? But once you turn on that speaker boost feature, okay, it does get better. Not good, not great, not top-notch, but better. And overall, with that feature turned off, it is decent at best. So phone calls through the onboard receiver on the S8 Active are decent. They get the job done. Okay? Now, moving on to speakerphone calls on the S8 Active, they're actually really, really good. And again, if you turn on that speaker boost feature, they get even better. So a large majority of the time, if I wasn't using Bluetooth earphones, I was using this device on speaker mode. Okay? And calls on the speaker are actually really, really good. So that goes over call quality through the receiver and call quality through the speaker. So again, through the receiver, it's decent at best. through the speaker is really good. Okay, let's keep it moving now. Let's go. Now up next now, I just want to give y'all my overall experiences with these cameras. Now, I've done a full dedicated camera review, including the photo and the video samples and a full software walkthrough of the camera interface. I'll link that up down below. Y'all feel free to check that out and come back and leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments of this video or down below in the comments of that video. All feedback, as always, is greatly appreciated. Just keep it respectful, please, and stay on subject. Okay? But talking about my experiences with these cameras, these are some really good cameras. Okay? Really good indeed. Now, when I judge cameras, I do it from 3 distinctive categories: point and shoot photo performance, point and shoot video capture capabilities, and then overall audio capture capabilities. And I have to say, all 3 of the categories on this device are really, really good. Not the best, not top notch, but really, really good. Okay, so photos on this device came out really good, even in low light, came out really good. Videos with this device came out really good, even with low light. Okay, and overall audio capture capability with this device was really good as well. Again, even in lower light or noisy environments, the audio capture capabilities on this device was really good. And if y'all want to see the performance other than the camera review, unless I state it, a lot of my content was recorded with this device unless otherwise stated. And a large majority of that content was done with no external microphone hooked up. So y'all can go back and check out pretty much any of the videos on my channel after this device was purchased, because a large majority of that content was done with this device. Okay? So overall, camera performance on this device is really, really good. Now, there was one issue or 2 issues that I ran into with this device that kind of had me perplexed. And I think it has more to do with software compatibility than anything else. Now, as I said, this device can record in 4K up to 30 FPS, but pretty much with my camera editing software, it maxes out at 2K 30 FPS. Now, I tried to render a bunch of 4K videos with my editing software, wasn't having it. The device freezes, it kicks me out, it doesn't render, not having it. So I had to bump it down to 2K in order to get it to render, and then even still, it takes a long time to render. And you know, it's very surprising considering that this is supposed to be able to shoot in 4K. The encoder here is actually maxed out at 2K. Okay? So, kind of weird. Alright, so that was one issue that I was having with the cameras and the editing software. And then another issue that I was having that I pointed out in the camera review is that when you shoot in 1080p 60 with this device, it locks the focus. Okay? So when you shooting in 1080p 60 with this device, you don't really get any focus control. So kind of another strange issue there, kind of a strange quirk, but it is what it is. But overall, camera performance on this device is really good. Alright? Next, let's move on now. Let's try to pick the speed up on this. I don't want to make this video too long. Let's talk about the overall gaming performance on this device, or my experience with the gaming. Yet again, I've done a full dedicated gaming performance video. I'll link it up down below for y'all to check out. Now, I tested 2 very graphically intensive games on here, and I put it through the ringer. I mean, we were gaming for hours at a time, okay? And this device performed phenomenally, okay? No performance dips, no hiccups, none of that. The only issue that I had while gaming is the back of this device got hot. It got really hot, while I was gaming. But the overall performance during the game did not dip. So gaming, my experience with the gaming on this one is top notch. Top notch indeed. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the overall battery life and the overall charge times of this device. And I'm going to attempt to cover this all in this video so I don't have to throw in screenshots. Okay? So talking about the overall battery life, okay? A few key factors that you have to keep in mind is the age of the device. So if you pick up a used device, I always recommend a battery swap. This way you get the absolute best battery performance because you're starting out with a new battery. Then I always recommend that you get comfortable with what resolution the display is at. Now this in particular is a 2K display, and for the review, let me show y'all. For the review, I've been running it at 2K. So if we go in here and we jump into display, okay, and we go down here to screen resolution, y'all can see during my whole review process, I ran this bad boy at 2K. All right, and that will have an effect on the overall battery life. Now, out of the box, when you first get yours, they put it on full HD plus, because this is a 18.5 by 9 aspect ratio display. And I would recommend, if you want the absolute best battery life, go down to 720p. Okay? So when I'm editing, when I'm recording, when I'm shooting, I typically keep the device at 720p. And I like the basic neutral colors, so I put it on basic. I don't have it on Super AMOLED, AMOLED Cinema, or Adaptive. I just put it on basic. Okay? But that's one thing you want to keep in mind. If you run this bad boy at 2K resolution, it will have a negative effect on the overall battery life. Alright? So you play around with the resolutions that this device is available at, and you figure out what works best for you. Okay? Other than that, there are a few different performance modes that you can use on the device, and depending on the performance mode that you're in, it does have a negative effect on the battery life. Okay? Just wanted to point that out. But, as I said, for the review process on this device, I ran the device at 2K. Alright? And I've had this device for a while now. Let me show y'all the battery health. Okay? So you can see I did give it a full charge and it's down to 51%. Okay, and if we go over to health, you can see the battery health is at 82%. So out of the 4,000 milliamp hours, we're down to 3277 milliamp hours. All right, so 82% battery health. And I always recommend, right, because this is where you're going to start seeing the effects on the battery. Once the battery health of your device drops below 80%, you might want to consider doing a battery swap. Okay? Buy a good battery off of Amazon, take it down to your local device repair shop, or if you got a mobile device repair shop, call them up, see how much it's going to cost to do a battery swap. It's always going to cost a little bit less if you already have all the materials. It's going to cost a little bit more if they have to provide the materials. So that's one thing I want to point out. So that goes over the battery health, and that goes over some key aspects that you have to keep in mind when we talk about the overall battery and charge times. Now, let's get into talking about the overall battery life and the charge times here, okay? And I'm going to pull up my screenshots here, and you can see that had to refresh. I did have it pulled up in the background. So, in terms of the battery life, okay, I tested this bad boy from 5% to 100 3 to 5 times, from 10% to 100 3 to 5 times, from 20% to 100 3 to 5 times, so on and so forth. And I just took the 3 best screenshots for each category. All right? So I would say in terms of the battery life, this one is okay, or typical flagship battery life in my opinion. Okay? So I'm averaging between 5 and 7 to 7.5 hours of on-screen time, or with light to moderate use, I'm getting through the day with either one additional charge, okay, or 2 additional charges with heavy use. All right. Just so y'all can see here some of the screenshots. Now, I hope this is clear, because if not, I have to throw up some of these in post. And we're trying to do minimal editing here. Okay? Just so y'all can take a look at some of the screenshots there. Okay? And you can also get an idea of the overall charge times as well. Okay? Okay, that should do it. Now, as you can see, in terms of the charge times on this device, it's going to charge up in about an hour and a half to about 2.5 hours if you use a wired connection. Keep in mind, when I charge my devices, I'm using the absolute fastest charging possible. This device pretty much only maxes out at about 15 to 18 watts when you're charging through the cable. Now, this also has wireless charging, and for wireless charging, which is something I do a lot of, just add on an additional hour. So if the device charges in an hour and 50 minutes wired, it's going to charge up in about 2 hours and 50 minutes wireless. Or if it's charging up in about 2.5 hours wireless, it's going to charge up in about 3.5 hours. If it's charging up in about 2.5 hours wired, it's going to charge up in about 3.5 hours wirelessly. So wireless charging is a lot slower, but one of the things that I like about wireless charging is it cuts down on the wear and tear on your charging port, while also giving you good overall charging speeds. Now for me, I typically use wireless charging when the battery is dead and I'm done recording. I just drop it on my wireless charger and it's good. But during the review process here, I set up my wireless chargers around my bed, and it's super convenient for me at the end of the day, or when I'm going to bed, or when the device needs to be charged, just to drop it on the wireless chargers on my nightstand. So I don't have to fight with any cables or any of that. I'm okay with sacrificing a little bit slower speeds for that convenience of not having to fight with cables. Okay, so I'm a big advocate for wireless charging as well. And sure, it's a lot slower, but it is what it is. And it does cut down on the wear and tear of your overall charging port, thus increasing the overall lifespan of your device. Okay, because once that charging port starts dying, you're going to start running into a lot of issues. And the S8 Active in particular was known for having faulty charging ports. So you do want to be mindful that you got a good quality charging port if you're deciding to pick up the S8 Active. But that goes over the charge times, that goes over the overall battery life. All right, now let's get into the last part of this video. Let's talk pricing, let's talk availability, let's talk overall final thoughts and overall recommendations. Now, in terms of the pricing, and I got my screenshots here, okay? Because I did take screenshots. I did go back and look at my Amazon receipts and find the screenshots. So, in terms of the screenshots for this device, okay, I picked this up from Amazon, and it was in used, good condition. And you can see this is the seller that I got it from. So, Edge Cellular, and this is how much I paid. $164 flat. Okay, so again, the seller is Edge Cellular, and that's what I paid in used, good condition, $164 flat. Now, as of the recording of this video, let's go to Amazon real quickly, because I had it pulled up. All right. As of the recording of this video, if you want to get this device in like new condition, you can find it for $419.55. Or, if you're okay with getting it in used good condition, you can find it at $107 and change, or about $6. Alright, so you can see right there. Okay? And these sellers are Endless Items for $419.55, Cellular Professor for 107 and change, and Sell Traders for 205.99. Okay, so that goes over the pricing, that goes over the availability, and that goes over how much I paid for mine. So that covers all the pricing. Now let's get into my final thoughts and my overall recommendations. If you're in the market for the S8 Active today in 2021, can I recommend it? I would have to say yes. Depending on what you use your devices for, the S8 Active is still more than a reliable device, even here in 2021, and I do believe it's going to serve you well. So if you are a clumsy individual like myself, and you know that you need to pick up a ruggedized device that can deal with your clumsiness, and you don't want to have to worry about picking up cases, tempered glass screen protectors, or what have you, I can easily recommend that y'all pick up this device. Okay? That being said, if you're a camera person or you like taking photos, this device will also serve you well in terms of the cameras. The only weak spot of this device in 2021 is the software and the support. So there isn't really any software or security patch updates on this, so you will need to be extremely careful. But other than that, in terms of the actual hardware and the software and the performance, I still do feel this is a really, really good device. And honestly, I have no problems recommending that you pick it up here in 2021. Alright, so that pretty much does it for this review. Okay, hope you guys and gals enjoyed it. Hope everyone found it helpful. Hope everyone is having a great day. And I will catch you guys and gals in the next one. Have a good one, everybody. And stay safe out there, man. We out of here. Peace.